I still remember the day I first stepped into Rusty's bar. The place smelled like cigarette smoke, oil, and time itself. When I opened that creaking door, sunlight sliced through the haze, and every conversation in the room went silent. I could feel the weight of their stares, rows of leather vests, tattoos, and skeptical eyes staring back at a 17-year-old girl in sneakers and a ponytail. I clutched my worn notebook to my chest, pretending I wasn't terrified that I knew what they saw, a kid who didn't belong. But I also knew what I'd come for. I'm looking for the Iron Wolves, I said, my voice steadier than I felt. I have a proposal. The laughter that followed was almost physical, loud, rolling, dismissive. Someone shouted something about Girl Scouts selling cookies. I forced myself to move closer to the center of the room. I'm a senior at Lincoln High. I began. For my final project, I'm documenting American subcultures. I want to ride with you, to understand who you are. They laughed again, harder this time. And then everything changed. Outside, I heard the deep growl of a Harley Davidson approaching. It was a sound I'd known my whole life, the rhythm of my father's heart on wheels. The room stilled. Moments later, Jack walked in. His presence changed the air itself. The patch on his back read Iron Wolves, founding member, 1971. Every man in that room straightened like they'd just been caught misbehaving. "Dad," I said softly. The word hit like a grenade. Jack didn't smile. He just came to stand beside me, tall and silent, a wall of strength I didn't know I'd need so badly. "You want to tell them?" he said to me. "Or should I?" I swallowed hard and nodded. "My project isn't just about motorcycles," I told them. "It's about what happens when soldiers come home and the world doesn't make sense anymore. It's about the brotherhood that gave my father a reason to keep breathing when nothing else could." The laughter was gone. A man named Walter, older than the rest, looked thoughtful. "Maybe that's not the worst thing," he said. But Ryan, one of the younger members, wasn't convinced. "Club business doesn't belong in a school report," he muttered. "We don't need tourists." "It's not a report," I said quietly. "It's everything. I want to understand the thing that gave me back my father." That was when the room shifted. Even Ryan didn't have a comeback. Walter lifted his beer. "Then I say we give her a shot." No one objected. I'd made it in, but I had no idea what I was truly stepping into. The first ride nearly broke me. I'd imagined freedom, wind in my hair, open roads, adventure. Instead, I got stiff legs, an aching back, and the constant fear of falling behind. I rode behind my father on his Harley, the vibration of the engine humming through my bones. My notebook was strapped against my chest like armor. After 3 hours, when we finally stopped at a rest area, I almost collapsed. Clara appeared beside me, lighting a cigarette. "First long ride always kicks your ass," she said. "You'll adapt, or you won't." "I'll adapt," I replied too quickly. She smiled, half pity, half respect. "Your dad tell you why I'm here?" I shook my head. "My husband rode with them back in '78. Drunk driver killed him. I showed up to his memorial ride wearing his jacket. Took 2 years before they stopped treating me like a ghost." She exhaled smoke into the cool air. "You can't change people's minds. You just keep showing up." That day, I started to understand what the Iron Wolves really were. People who refused to disappear at a diner outside Millbrook. Walter told me about his brother Jimmy, who died on a highway in '69. "Jack found me in my garage, sitting with a bottle and Jimmy's helmet," he said. "Didn't talk. Just sat there until I could breathe again." He smiled faintly. "We're not rebels, kid. We're survivors. We ride because it's the only way to move forward." Across the diner, Ryan sat glaring at me. "Getting what you need for your little report?" he asked. "You know what happens when outsiders write about us. They get it wrong." "I'm not trying to write about you," I said. "I'm trying to understand." "You can't," he snapped. "You're a tourist." Before I could answer, Clara leaned across the table. "Enough, Ryan." I met his eyes. "You're right that I'm an outsider. But my dad trusted you with his life. If I do this wrong, I'm failing him too. So yeah, I'm going to get it right." He looked away first. Weeks passed. I learned to read the roads, to sense a storm in the wind, to keep pace without being told. One afternoon, I overheard my father's name spoken in a tone I didn't recognize. Tight, wary. "Ben heard about the project," Walter said quietly. "Wants to talk." Even I knew that name. Ben, the man no one mentioned. The ghost of the Iron Wolves. When he showed up, I was alone at the clubhouse, typing up my notes. The sound of his bike sent a chill through me. He was in his 50s, no colors, no arrogance. Just a man carrying a heavy past. "You must be Lena," he said, almost shy. "Your father used to talk about you." Before I could reply, Jack's truck pulled into the lot. When he saw Ben's bike, he froze. They faced each other in silence. 15 years of unfinished sentences hanging in the air. Finally, Jack asked, "You want coffee?" Ben nodded. "Yeah, coffee would be good." Within an hour, the clubhouse filled. The old guard showed up. Walter, Clara, Ryan, everyone. When Ryan saw Ben, his jaw clenched. "My father died believing you betrayed this club." Ben didn't flinch. "Your father and I disagreed," he said. "I wanted the Wolves to become something more, to help returning vets find their way. He thought that made us weak." "You wanted to change everything we were," Ryan growled. "I wanted us to matter beyond ourselves," Ben said softly. Jack finally spoke. And I stayed silent. Thought I was keeping peace, but my silence was a choice too. His voice cracked. "I'm sorry, brother." Ben's eyes shone. "You were my best friend, Jack. I just wanted you to stand beside me." Walter broke the tension. "For what it's worth, we did start that outreach program. 3 years after you left." Ben blinked. "You did?" Clara nodded. "Because of you." Ryan stormed out, the door slamming behind him. Jack stopped Ben from following. "Give him time," he said quietly. That night, I watched them rebuild something sacred. 2 old friends side by side in the garage, working on an engine that hadn't run in years. When it finally roared to life, Jack cried for the first time I'd ever seen. I didn't write it down. Some moments are too true for paper. A few nights later, I found Ryan sitting on his bike outside. "He's not the villain you want him to be," I said. "My dad died angry," Ryan whispered. "At Ben, at the world. I thought staying angry was how I honored him." "Maybe honoring him means letting go," I said. He looked at me for a long moment, then nodded. "You're tougher than you look, Lena." For the first time, he smiled. When my father proposed moving the memorial ride up a month early, no one questioned him. "Because waiting for perfect means waiting forever," he said. Preparations took weeks. Clara showed me how each patch told a story. Every name stitched into leather, a life remembered. I photographed them all, her hands steady, her eyes soft. Meanwhile, Jack, Ben, and Ryan spent nights in the garage. They were building more than bikes. They were building forgiveness. One night, I overheard Ryan ask Ben, "You really think we could make a difference? Help vets the way you wanted?" "I know we can," Ben said. "Your father and I fought over method, not purpose. He wanted to protect what we built. I wanted to expand it. We were both right." Ryan was quiet. He never told me he was proud of me. "Some men lose their words in the war," Jack said gently. "You'll just have to find your own." The night before the memorial ride, Clara gathered the core members, Jack, Walter, Ben, Ryan, and me. On the table lay my father's original cut, faded but sacred. "What you've done goes beyond a school project," Clara said. Jack lifted the vest. "This has been mine for 54 years, he said. "Every mile, every brother, every loss. Now it's yours." Tears blurred my vision. "Dad, I can't." "You can," he said. "And you will." Clara took her sewing kit and stitched my name beneath his, thread connecting 2 generations. When she was done, she held it up. Jack and Lena. 2 names, 1 legacy. The memorial ride began at dawn. 73 bikes thundered down the road. Veterans, families, friends. The sound was like heartbeats multiplied. I rode beside my father, wearing our cut. Ben rode on his other side, and Walter followed close behind. The cemetery. We gathered around the memorial stone etched with names. Walter spoke first, then Clara. When it was my turn, I opened my notebook. "I came to the Iron Wolves to study a subculture," I said. "But what I found was a family built from broken pieces. Men and women who learned that the opposite of war isn't peace. It's connection." I read their stories, Walter's brother, Clara's loss, my father's pain, Ben's hope. "Legacy," I said finally, "isn't about choosing between past and future. It's about stitching them together and refusing to let the thread break." Ryan and Ben clasped hands briefly. Not a resolution, but a beginning. That night, I finished my project, 20,000 words, part history, part heart. I titled it Brotherhood, a legacy in motion. Outside, I heard engines start, my father's Harley and another beside it. I looked out the window to see Jack and Ben riding off together into the twilight. I smiled through tears, Some journeys never really end. They just keep moving forward, carrying everyone brave enough to hold on.